If Donald Trump runs for president again in 2024, Robert Palmer, a 54-year-old Florida man, will still be in prison for assaulting U.S. Capitol Police officers during the January 6 insurrection. Palmer, who was sentenced to 63 months, has received the longest sentence of the more than 150 defendants who have pleaded guilty to charges stemming from the storming of the U.S. Capitol. He was just one of the hundreds of Trump supporters who rushed law enforcement in an attempt to overturn a free and fair election. After losing to Democrat Joe Biden in November 2020, Trump spent weeks promoting the lie that the election was stolen from him, culminating in the attack the following January. Trump incited the riot that left 5 people dead and dozens of law enforcement officers injured. But while countless people are facing consequences for what they did that day, Trump still hasn't. Instead, in a darkly ironic twist, Palmer and countless others will watch behind bars should Trump launch his next presidential bid. The punishments for the insurrection have ranged widely. Texas real estate agent Jenna Ryan, who famously said she definitely wasn't going to jail because she has blonde hair and white skin, received 60 days. Paul Hodgkins, a Floridian, was sentenced to 8 months in prison for entering the Senate chamber. Hundreds of people have been charged with various crimes, so there are more sentences for defendants on the way. But 1 year later, it's becoming increasingly likely that Trump will not be held accountable. I've heard this question from Democrats in my life and seen tweets from large public interest groups: why isn't Donald Trump in prison? The answer is simple: people like him rarely end up behind bars. As his supporters languish, incarcerated, Trump's inner circle will continue plotting to finish destroying what's left of American democracy. It seems as if the worst thing that's happened to Trump as a result of the insurrection is that he's been banned from Twitter. Although it's still early, Trump is still leading among Republicans as a choice for the 2024 presidential nominee. And, more important, according to an AP, NORC poll, only 30% of Republicans believe the U.S. Capitol insurrection was somewhat violent, despite the multitude of videos depicting just how much violence occurred that day. Republican lawmakers are either busy promoting the big lie that the 2020 election was stolen, keeping quiet out of a desire to keep their office, or, in the case of Representative Liz Cheney, being ostracized for embracing reality. Are these the conditions under which Trump is supposed to face consequences for his actions? Here's how the criminal justice system really functions in this country. Marginalized people, such as people of color, poor people, and religious and gender minorities, are more likely to be swept up in the system. Black people are more likely to receive life in prison and death sentences. Those with fewer resources often face harsher punishments due to insufficient counsel. Meanwhile, whiter and wealthier people often receive more lenient sentences if they are charged at all. Many of the people facing charges in the insurrection are awaiting their day in court at the federal jail in the District of Columbia, known for its harsh conditions. Trump supporters see the insurrectionists as political prisoners, but nonetheless they don't seem too concerned about the conditions under which they are held. Aside from some camera-ready moments from Reps. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican Georgia, and Matt Gaetz, Republican Florida, when they inexplicably linked horrific conditions of the jail to critical race theory, conservatives have paid scant attention to their actual state of incarceration. Instead, the GOP machine is working to change voting laws to circumvent that pesky problem of not having enough votes to win an election outright. During his inauguration speech, President Joe Biden vowed to combat right-wing extremism, music to the ears of the people who had just witnessed the horror of January 6th. But, of course, that's easier said than done. Congress, for its part, has been engaged in an investigation of the insurrection, and though many more details have been brought to light, it's unlikely to end in the imprisonment of the former president. The issue at hand is that there isn't a precedent for this type of crisis. Before Trump, every outgoing president graciously accepted a loss and peacefully handed over power because that was simply the norm. It's what every president did before him. As a result, we're ill-equipped to handle norm breakers. I guess the Founding Fathers, beloved as they are to many in the U.S., forgot to write into the Constitution what to do when a president incites an insurrection. It's important to remember that Trump going to prison would be a long way from solving the country's current problem. A prison sentence may not even stop him from running for president, and there are plenty of Trumps in training waiting in the wings who would be more than thrilled to carry the mantle. The damage he and his ilk brought on our democracy is here to stay. It's better to embrace the obvious. Donald Trump is not going to prison. But at least he can't tweet.